Hello there. The die is cast. You will not travel, and you will be happy. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. Just recently there's been talk of these new low traffic zone schemes for Oxford and Canterbury, where they split the town into zones and it is illegal to drive between them or through one or more zones to get to another zone. No, what you have to do is drive to the ring road and then use that to get to your desired zone. Something that might add miles to your journey and take much longer because the ring road is chockers. And if you do flout the law, you get a fine. But these schemes are sprouting up everywhere. Even Birmingham has its own grand plan along these lines. Now in Oxford, the plan is to allow you to drive across zones, but only 100 times a year. And the outcome that all these plans want is, of course, to get you on foot and on your bicycle in all weathers, or to use what they promise will be plentiful and comfortable public transport. The joyful days of deciding on a whim to jump into your car or onto the saddle of your motorbike to travel just about wherever you want to go are now fast disappearing. Every journey will now be an effort. Shopping will be an effort. You will have to buy everything online or carry it yourself with no car. And part of this is the concept of the 15-minute neighbourhood, where every resident has everything they need from food to healthcare within a 15-minute walk of their residence. Yeah. No need to ever leave your locality, just like a 10th century villager. And the roads in these localities will be repurposed away from cars towards pedal power and pedestrians. So for those of you thinking that we'll all have electric cars, think again. There won't be a road surface allocated for that. Deliveries, taxis, ambulances, police cars, local councillors' cars and MPs' cars probably yes, as they have to get around their areas every single day, don't they? But you mere plebs, never. No more long commute driving. No. Either change jobs and work locally or suffer the bus stops and waits. And you can bet your bottom dollar that the ring roads that take you from zone to zone will have toll cameras on them to deter you from using them as well. Now, these sorts of schemes are based on the Belgian city of Ghent. And actually, it has proven to be very successful. City planners there are so pleased. The people of Ghent appear to have fully complied with the instructions and happily got on their bikes, presumably because they had no choice. And the Ghent model was based on the 1970s scheme in the Dutch city of Groningen, and that's never going to be car-dominated ever again. So UK politicians will of course assume that the sensible, law-abiding and ultimately highly compliant drivers of the UK will also now bow down to the political inevitability of all of this and get out of their cars. And they will be especially emboldened by the public's recent response to lockdowns, of course. Now for the die-hard motorist, their prides and joys will just more and more become expensive heaps of unused metal in the driveway, or on an allocated parking space somewhere in the vicinity. Instead of being a 365-day-a-year useful tool, it will become a 3/4 of the year financial liability. And that's the aim, of course. Get people who spend on their cars to also have to spend on public transport and walk in the rain. Make them understand the folly of their ways and sell their cars. One less thing for the proles to actually own. Plus there are other steps that can be taken in future, like making car parking progressively more expensive and even taxing any car parking space you have as some sort of luxury. And of course gradually reducing the limited amount of licensed personal vehicles in each zone. And caravans, trailers and campervans, forget 'em. Now to these so-called 15-minute neighbourhoods where you can live your entire life without having to leave it should you wish, or be forced to do so. That would mean that there'd need to be a butcher, baker and candlestick maker within 15 minutes of every house. Schools, doctors and dentists, opticians, veterinary services. Would every plumber, electrician and window cleaner have to arrive on foot or by bike? What would the health and safety experts say? And don't worry about the gas fitter, there'll be no gas. Something that would mean cramming people closer together, as that 15-minute malarkey would be impossible out in the countryside. And there'd be no more jumping in the car to take some broken junk down the local tip. You either carry it on foot or on your bike, or more likely have to arrange for the council to come round and collect it, for a cost. And apart from the east of England maybe, most of the country is quite hilly and would prove very challenging for many on foot and bike. Further, how would you get the right number of each profession and trade rationed out across the country to ensure every 15-minute neighbourhood had enough hairdressers and shopkeepers, road sweepers and all the rest of it? Unless you are prepared to run a very centralised command economy system, where, when you qualify as a whatever, you get sent to the next place on the list where one is needed. Very post-war 1950s. Anyway, it doesn't matter how much people moan, it's going to happen, because these schemes are being brought forward and put in place by our local councillors. You know, those faceless people that are put in place by Tory, Labour, Lib Dem and Green voters every few years, all based on rosette colour with absolutely no regard to what they're actually planning to do. Still, we'll all own nothing, go nowhere and be ecstatic about it. Every day that passes sees a little more of our personal freedoms being chipped away. We're on the cusp of losing our personal travel choices. Next it will be the choice of food we eat. Then will come compulsory medicines. And then finally, compulsory thought. And now a quick update on some other news. Now it's looking like Rishi Sunak is thinking about keeping the foreign aid budget at 0.5% of gross national income. It should be 0.7%, but was reduced to 0.5% because of the pandemic costs. But it's looking like they're going to extend that 0.5% reduction for an extra 2 years in order to help with this cost of living crisis. Now that would be an interesting development because the left would throw wobbly after wobbly after wobbly.